all AI handling faculties, and good morning, my dear students. So those of you who have joined on time, I extend my hearty thanks and congratulations, because I strongly believe that this forum of around 42 students present here, they are the actual participants, I believe, who are listening to our AI classes. Now that all the classes have gone online and we keep talking to the students, only these set of students, I believe, are responding to us, and they're really listening to our lectures. Hope I'm not wrong. I hope other faculties also agree with it. Now, apart from this, it's my pleasure to welcome back Srinivas Muralidharan to our campus, virtual campus, I should say. So thank you very much for accepting the invitation. The very motto of inviting you to give a talk is, one thing is to conduct a alumni for these students so that they can have interaction with you to understand what is happening abroad, how they can approach the universities and all. So that part we'll keep it towards the end. And another thing is, they are actually bored listening to our lectures. So I thought we should invite alumni and give one topic should be given for alumni. So if this goes successful, we have done like for every subject for that matter, we'll invite one alumni, we'll give them one topic, so that the students don't feel monotonous listening to our lectures alone. So they'll have a variety of listening to different speakers. So probably one or two topics only will be given for the guest lectures. And that guest lectures, we want our alumni to come back as prestigious alumni and then give the talk to them. So I hope the participants are going to enjoy this session and they'll have a good learning experience. So Srinivas Muralidharan has taken so much of effort. He has been asking the topic, what he could, he was really very enthusiastic in asking us what topic should be covered, what is his expertise, and how we match it with the curriculum with real-time experiences. So it was really, I felt very happy in interacting with Srinivas Muralidharan for the past 1 week in making this webinar happen today. So I sincerely thank you, Srinivas, for the game. I welcome you to this forum, and the stage is yours. Before that, just a minute, Golda ma'am, can you just give a small introduction of the speaker?
Yes, thank you, ma'am. I request Srija Shambhavi to introduce our speaker for the day. Srija, over to you. Srija Shambhavi. I'll just unmute you just a second. Can the host unmute Srija Shambhavi? Ma'am, can you just unmute her? HOD ma'am?
Yes, good morning. Yeah, I'm doing it, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Good morning, one and all present here. I warmly welcome you all to this Artificial Intelligence webinar. I find immense pleasure in introducing our guest speaker, Mr. Srinivas Muralidharan, who has been a Quality Assurance Associate in Amazon Kindle and a System Engineer intern at Infosys. He is currently working as a Data Scientist intern at FastTrack. He is also an alumnus of our college, currently pursuing his Master of Science in Artificial Intelligence at Vrjie Universiteit, Amsterdam. We hope that his lecture on levels of NLP applications, BI and analytics will be of great use and knowledge to all of you. I would like to welcome him now to enlighten us on the topic.
Thank you, Srija. Ma'am, can I start or?
Yes, please, sir.
Okay. So I'm just sharing my screen. Just let me know if my screen is visible so that.
It's visible, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. And just to start with, So right now I'm doing my master's in artificial intelligence. It's in my final years, and apart from that, I'm working as a data scientist. Not as a data scientist intern, but as an AI intern for a company in Netherlands as in terms of NLP based projects. So I'm working for a product based company which is called Friesland Company. So very similar to what Arvin does in India. So they're using. So it's very weird to know Arvin kind of company is using AI to build your business in it. So yeah, it has got a lot of use cases in this present years coming and the generations coming. So looking into this, I see everyone are third year students. So I would understand most of you know the basic concepts of computer science and how technology works on an high level idea. So I'll just get into details, but not into complete details. So if you have any questions, let this session be kind of very much interactive than keeping it one-sided. I always try to make it much more interactive as possible. You also get smarter by asking your own. Sometimes I might get dumb as well. So yeah, that's not a problem. Yeah. So just to start with, as I told you, let this be more of a questioning session. So what is NLP according to you guys? Any one of you can just unmute yourself or come up with your own kind of answers through chat or anything. So what is NLP according to you? Natural language processing, basically. What have you known and what have you read through Google, and what does it make sense to you? Anyone up? I guess it's morning, guys. So yeah, I got one answer. Oh,
That's not an answer.
So yeah, anyone is fine. Even though the answer is wrong, it's fine because you're just third year students. It happens. Or I shall move on. That's not a problem for me as well. Okay, so yeah, let's get going. And if you have any doubts in between, you can also ask them. So yeah, maybe most of you would have thought NLP works with text, right? It's actually right. So NLP actually works with text. And before starting with it, I would also want to introduce you what evolution of NLP and how it has progressed from past to present and how it is going to be in the future. So if you see the evolution, in the past everything was text. So wherever you go, it was all based on text. Even maths, even science, everything it's a text, right? You get books, it's a text. So all converting a text format into a digitalized format is the present. So getting that digitalized is the present. And once it's digitalized, how is that we're going to use it in the future is something. Yeah, sorry, I've got it. How to program computers to process and analyze large amounts of natural language data. So yeah, I mean, this is one of the very formal definitions. Yep. So nice try, Dharma, and it's a good definition. It's a good definition. So yeah, getting back to this. So in the past, I don't know how many of you have used, I don't know, the current generation, how many of you have used read papers in the morning? How many of you have read, say, much of like the other kind of entertainment news in the morning? Or say, if you want to look into some kind of buying stuff or selling stuff, in those days, people use papers. But nowadays, you see Facebook coming up with all kind of buying and selling for platforms, Instagram coming with a lot of buying and selling platforms, and apart from that, Amazon. So they give you a lot of recommendations. They say that this is useful to you and this is not useful to you. So this is the present, right? So they are optimizing our pattern, the way we learn, the way we behave according to them. So everything's not just based on text, but also other data is part of it. But most of it is based on text because the reviews we give and everything we produce through the technology is being got by them, and they're using that for much more optimization of better future as well, right? So yeah, the present is actually, I would say, it's natural language processing, and the past was natural language generation. So a lot of generation of text was going on, and now it's processing. So all kind of processing concepts we'll be seeing in the further slides. And future would be something related to intent detection or natural language understanding. So once you have developed a certain algorithm or say a certain model of natural language or based on a text, so that model is supposed to start understanding, right? It's supposed to start understanding on its own instead of we giving input to it daily basis. It's supposed to say, okay, I understand this way, and mind in human intervention saying, no, this is not the way, you need to change it this way. So that's how the future is going to be. So moving on to the next slide. So as I told you about the past, so what kind of data would have been there, and what kind of data is there? So how is it, what kind of sources of data are there? So when it comes to we're talking about NLP, and it's going to be completely text based. So it is text. So have your now currently you have your news coming up, right? You have your news channels or media, even the online news websites. So it's completely based on text. So every paper in India, they're converting that online, I mean, text into now, so that they could understand this pattern as well, what news you and what kind of news they give you, and how is it pattern behavior of every user. Text is the most basic source. So it can be of any format, say from the social media or from the news channels I've told you, or from the calls. So call centers. So for example, you talk to any kind of Amazon call center or customer service center, they get calls and they want to validate your complaint, or they want to resonate or your feedback. So they make sure they register to describe your message text. So that becomes a text at the end of the day. And for analyzing that, you need the NLP process, and obviously through books. So now a lot of research going through how do you convert books into very much, I mean, a 300-page book into a summary. That's a big thing, right? That's the state of the art now in the recent years. So yeah, if anyone has got doubts or something. Okay, so the next, yeah, papers, as I told you, newspapers. A lot of them are there. That's also the second thing. A lot of newspapers nowadays, we don't have the patience to read them going through every page. So we don't have the time as well, you see. So in that case, a lot of summarization happens. How does that summarization happen? It doesn't happen by human. Human doesn't read each and every page in each and every line and summarize it. It happens by the systems, by the computers, by the technology. And that also we need NLP. And the raw sources of data which we'll be getting, and final source is just you. So you are the ones who's making data, and no one else. It is me, you, everyone. We are creating data, and the way I'm talking now, I'm also creating data, right? So that's how data is created. So going to the next one. Sorry. So yeah, going to the next one. We'll be going to the levels of NLP. So this is going to be kind of technical. So let's make it much more interactive or something. Let's not try to make it much more boring for you. And if you have any questions, just to come up immediately, so we can pause and we can answer your. Or just note it down somewhere. We can just continue with it. So yeah, to start with, there are like around 7 levels. So first would be the phonetic level, and I will go through each and every level once I start with the next slides. So first would be the phonetic, then the morphologic, which deals with morphemes, then the lexemes, that's the lexical level, then the syntax or every text possible, and the semantic, that's the basic and foundational thing of NLP. So if there's no semantic level, obviously we end up in the worst algorithm possible for NLP. And next we have discourse and pragmatic, which is kind of totally needed for NLP, but I will explain to you how is it used, because it seems a little bit of confused and it's a little bit art topic compared to the other levels. So to start with, I'll take this example of phonetic. So can any one of you read the word for me? I mean, just spell it out or just tell me how do you spell it? Any one of you? So I hope we all once you see it, we all call it as jumbo, right? So in English it is jumbo, but in Dutch or any other European country, they don't call it as jumbo. They call it as yambo. So as you say, the pronunciation differs. So this pronunciation, this meaning of pronunciation differs from state to state or maybe country to country. So say even within our country, we have got different kinds of pronunciation. That's not something bad. That's something unique to your language, right? So that's where natural language. So if every language is same, then NLP becomes easy. So the NLP research is vast now, since it has got all the various ways. In this case, phonetics is nothing but how you pronounce, what kind of pronunciation you use. So that phonetics is something really important in terms of transcribing calls. So whenever people call the customer care or something, so it's kind of really important in that case. So they have to find out if this particular complaint through the call is a Dutch or English, or what kind of version of English. Is it a UK, US, or Indian version? So yeah, it differs a lot. So phonetics is basically the way you pronounce stuff. So this is and and this is basically the NLP. So you could take any kind of word. In instance, for instance, you can take even the coronavirus 19 or the COVID-19. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, so I hope I can continue. So yeah, so you could take any kind of words for this case. So you can take the coronavirus. Ma'am, have you got any doubts, ma'am? Yeah, sorry, yeah. So yeah, okay. So yeah, you can take any kind of words in this case. So as I told, the COVID-19. So how could you split that? Maybe you could split it COVID as one of the morphemes and 19 as the other one. So in that case, yeah, sorry. So in that case, if you see, you've got a lot of words like that. So you have a lot of words like that. So morphemes are nothing but different splits of words make one word. So for example, you've got a couple of types, which is inflectional and derivational. And before that, I would love to explain you how does this happen. So you take a word, a prefix and suffix to the word, and there's also a stem of the word. Suppose if you take a word called unhappiness, the prefix is un, and ness is the suffix, and happy is supposed to be the stem of the word, right? So in this case, un means not being able to or not able to, and the ness, NESS, the word ness means state of being. So each and every word in that particular morpheme, I mean, in that particular complete word, has got its own meaning. So if you take all those words, so those will be the morphemes. So in the word unhappiness, you've got 3 morphemes. So it's the prefix, suffix, and the stem. So same way, if you go the other morpheme, it has got only suffix to it, no prefix to it. So you've got words like eaten, smartest, tall, convert EST is a suffix to it. So these kind of morphemes are analyzed by the NLP process to understand, say, in case of when I say smartest or when I say tall, if that means A is taller. That's the case. So that's the way it happens here. So that is called morphemes, unhappy, kindness, registering. So these are derivational morpheme. So derivational morphemes are nothing but which completely relates to how it's derived from one particular word, or how the stem word is derived into the suffix, or how the prefix is derived into, say, the original word. So in this case, the original word first, that's the stem. So it's derived from the prefix, saying it's a restart. So the complete meaning changes over here. So in that case, what happens? Even for derivational morphemes, yes, it has to undergo the NLP process. It has to split the words start and re. So this particular NLP would understand saying the dictionary has got the name start, which means basically it means initiate. Yeah. And also re is something repeat, right? Repeat, re is something called repeat. So it has got a meaning behind it. So that's why it's got morpheme. So each and every part of the word has got a meaning behind it. So unhappy, I've told you an example. And kindness. Kindness also I've told you. See, kind is one stem word, and ness is the state of being. So you're being kind. So that's called kindness. And registering. Registering is the same thing. You are register means it differs from context to context, right? And registering is you're currently doing something. You are in the process of doing something. That's ing. You are in the process of doing something. That's the, it works based on your grammar knowledge as well. So this is basically the morphemes and the morphological level of NLP. And if you are meaning of the word. So if you say lexemes, so lexemes are nothing but the word itself. So for example, you say the word ran, or you say the word run, okay? So run is called the main lexeme word, but the other formats are called the lexical meaning of the word. So if you take the word run, so suppose if a sentence contains words like running, ran, or say flying, flew, so that the NLP process would take back the verb to run, fly. So that's how it takes back the word. If the sentence contains shooting, it's going to take back the word to shoot. So that's how it happens. And if the sentence contains loving, loved, it's going to take back the word to love. So that's how the NLP or the algorithm understands, okay, this is the continuous word, or this is the past tense, and the original format is this. So it could also understand if the context is talking about a past or a present, or if the context is talking about a future tense. So basically, lexemes deals with these kind of sense, and do not confuse lexemes with morphological, because morphological level has got different splits of words, whereas lexemes doesn't do that. It has got any kind of sense, and you can also convert that kind of other tenses to one single word. So you can even take, I've given one kind of application which is used here, which is called para speech tagging. So in part of speech tagging, the word tagging is there, right? That tagging can also be converted to a word called tag. So that's how it works. So it doesn't take the whole word. The NLP doesn't take the whole word. It just takes the word tag. So this happens. This happens instead of morphemes at times, or if you want to use lexical level, you can use it, or if you want to use morphological level, you can use that. But it is more better if you use morphological level, because you can split your words and analyze for your sentiments. I mean, I will come to the application, so you will get to know much more about this. So the next level for syntax is very simple. So it's basically a structure. For example, if coding in technology, but when it comes to NLP, the syntax is completely different. So yeah, it basically deals with the grammar and how your particular sentence or the text is arranged or organized. So in this case, you can see the sentence, Dhoni will not miss the IPL Cup this time. The IPL Cup this time. So this sentence, it gives you a, I would say, that Dhoni is going to work hard for it this time. So you can put it in any manner. Dhoni will miss the IPL Cup this time. So that gives you a sense. That gives you a structure of the sentence. And suppose if you say Dhoni so
Hold on, ma'am, what happened?
I think he has got stuck. Just a second.
Connection. Okay. Let me join.
Srinivas?
He's not here, ma'am. I think he lost.
Looks like he lost his connection.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
just wait for a minute.
Yes, ma'am. It's done, Srinivas.
Yeah, sorry guys, a lot of internet is not definitely. So yeah, coming back to the point, yeah, syntax level was just now I told you the structure makes a lot of, it should make a lot of sense context you're talking. So it should not deal away from the context. So make sure if you are dealing with any kinds of sentences in a complaint based or any kind of NLP process dealing with feedback systems or review systems, make sure your words are much more in a more proper syntax level. But yeah, don't worry about it. A lot of Python packages automatically takes care of that level. So coming back, so coming to the next level, which is the semantic level. So this level should be much more important, as I told you. So it deals with the exact meaning of words and sentences. So if you take these two words, right? So if you take these two words, say the bank was closed yesterday, and there were many at the bank of the river. So what do you mean by this? So the bank was closed yesterday. What does this sentence mean? Does it mean the bank of the river was closed? Because that's always open. So it can be closed. So the bank, I mean, the money bank was closed yesterday. And there were many, sorry, I missed out a word there, but there were many birds at the bank of the river. So in the second sentence, the bank, the context bank over there, it means that is something related to, say, the nature around the place, or it is a different context. And the first sentence, the word bank, relates to some other context. So this kind of meanings from the sentence, yeah, it gives a different meaning. So these kind of meanings have to be taken care by the NLP process. So this semantic level is really necessary for your algorithm to work properly. So for in this case, there are two concepts. So one is a unidirectional way, and another is a bidirectional method. So unidirectional, basically you read the sentence from any one direction, say right to left or left to right. It depends. See, again, the language you use is depends. English you usually read from left to right, but in terms of Urdu, I don't know the other languages, right? Urdu or say they read from left to right, right to left, the other way around. It's always read from right to left and left to right. So those kind of algorithms haven't come yet in the technical perspective. But right now, over the past 2 years, there has been a lot of research into it, and there are beta versions. There are small versions, which is, I mean, one of them is called, the architecture is called transformers, and based on transformer architecture, that's a particular algorithm named BERT. So that uses bidirectional encoding representation for text. So that's the full form of that. So that basically reads the sentences from right to left as well as left to right, so that it understands the semantic level very clearly, and it takes to the next process of NLP, which is the discourse level. So discourse level, if you see, it deals with different kinds of text. So don't confuse yourself with a lot of definitions above. I'll just explain you with a small example below. So it's basically connection between words and sentences. So for example, there's a small example which I have taken. So I voted for Obama because he was most aligned with my values, she said. So I voted for Obama. In this case, if you just plainly read, if the system just reads the sentence in a very, I would say very abrupt manner, how would it think? So I would be related to Obama, Obama will be related to E, and E also will be related to my, and at the end, he and she will be related to, I mean, it will be correlated. That would be nonsense, right? That would be completely nonsense. So this is where your discourse level comes to play. So it gives of the people. Right? So when you say hi, it relates to some other person, some other person. Each and everything, maybe. For example, you could take say the Chennai city is improving in terms of COVID, and it is going to get better within a month. So if you take that sentence, the Chennai city is the first word, or Chennai is the first word, and that is related to it is. So Chennai is related to it in this case. So when you mean Chennai, what is it over here? Related to Chennai. It is a mean Chennai. So that's where your discourse comes to play, and that's very important for NLP process. If your discourse is not proper, you will completely lose your algorithm at the end. And a small example below relates to a particular term called anaphora resolution. I'll give you some few examples to work on it. Maybe you could do it during a free time, and I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you after the session. Coming to the final level, which is the pragmatic level. So when you come to the pragmatic level, it is something, it deals out of the context. For example, when I take Dhoni and Infosys, what does that mean? Dhoni is not related to Infosys, right? It is out of the context. So how does that link? So for example, I don't know if how many of you have written essays during your school times. What teachers do, they give you a set of keywords which is not at all related, and you need to create an essay for it, right? So that's called pragmatic level. So that this comes to play when summary of, as I told you, summarization of any kind of book or summarization of any kind of large corpus of text, large newspapers. So this comes to play over there. So you just take keywords from the newspapers and try to use the pragmatic level of NLP and create a good summary out of it. So this is useful in those cases. Yeah, it is useful in other applications as well, but not to that extent. So maybe generation of summary or a text, automatic generation of summary is somewhere this is applied. So Dhoni is related to Infosys. I will tell you the reason for it. Dhoni is much more into leadership, and is known for his leadership qualities. And Infosys needs people with leadership qualities. So that's where Infosys and Dhoni are related. I mean, they're not actually related in the real world, but yeah, something outside the world. The qualities of Dhoni can be used in Infosys. And these are the pragmatic level. I mean, these are the levels of NLP. And based on this, a lot of packages in Python, a lot of algorithms, a lot of models have been developed, and where you'll be just using the models in the future stages. You won't be going through all these levels, but you have to understand these for your future project. If at all you're doing a project in NLP, you have to understand these concepts to make sure you explain it better, you understand the context of your problem statement better, or if you're going to get into a company, this makes you grow well as well. And next comes applications. So there are a lot of applications. Say, I would start with the common applications, then I'll move on to how NLP is used in technical applications as well. I mean, I will move on to that. See, the common application are language translation and social media analysis. So one beautiful example for social media analysis is your text, the Facebook. So in most of the groups, if you just type it, I mean, I just tried doing it yesterday. I was not on Facebook for so I just tried doing that yesterday. So I went to Facebook, I typed something, and so all of a sudden it says this is a question. I mean, in a group, I wanted to get something clarified in a group. So I asked them a question. All of a sudden, the post automatically classified that as a question. Or if it's something related to a request, the post automatically was classified as a request in Facebook. So that's something social media is going through now. Even Twitter is going through a lot of NLP-based projects. And apart from that, you have got chatbots. Everywhere you have heard about chatbots. Yeah, chatbots, I would say chatbots are not that lively, but to make it lively, it is better you start using a lot of emotions into it and sentiment analysis into it. So it's not going to be that lively, and it's better if a lot of say intent detection based NLP projects are used for those use cases, these applications. Next is survey analysis. I mean, a lot of surveys are there, Google surveys, and even other forms are there, right? So instead of one person, say for example, there's a symposium being conducted at SRM, and you bring out a survey out of it, and you take out a form, right? You get a form, you tell all the college students to fill it. At the end of the day, your feedback, you won't be going and reading all 10,000 feedbacks. That won't be a very optimized way of doing it. Your productivity really decreases. So it's better you bring out algorithm out of it. You say, give me the worst feedback, give me the best ones, give me the neutral ones, or something. So that's how analysis works in terms of NLP. And next is hiring and recruitment. How many, I don't know, if you say HR, if you say the role HR, doing it, take care of your resumes. Basically, it gets analyzes your summaries, your skills, and everything. Saying, yeah, this guy selected because his resume matches your company profile. So that's how LinkedIn is also doing right now. I don't know how many of you started to use LinkedIn. Try LinkedIn. I would say every month or every week you would be getting a lot of feedbacks from NLP. Of skill sets you have, it reads your complete summary as well. So that's where hiring and recruitment takes a call in NLP. And voice assistants, as I've told you earlier, something in call centers or customer complaint centers, they use voice assistants basically to get in touch with you. For example, Amazon, they use voice assistants to get in touch with you. Or Alexa is one of those examples. I mean, even Google has got a voice assistants, and Siri is one of the high-class voice assistants, I would say, in a very high level. And coming to the next is grammar checks. I don't know how many of you use Grammarly. Try using Grammarly, and you'll understand. Grammarly has got sentiments as well now. So when you start typing a word, it immediately the next second it analyzes your sentiment. It says, "Oh, this particular sentence is bad." It automatically gives you a reaction, a smiley. And email filtering is a very old one, but the concept in email filtering is used in various other NLP applications as well, because email filtering is very necessary for text classification as well. So when you go to email filtering, a lot of spams are there. Even now, a lot of spams come up. So you have to arrange your spams most of the times, but email filtering takes care of your spam arrangements. So that's the old concept, but it's a very useful concept in other kinds of applications as well. So if there are any doubts, you could just ask me, or end of the session also we could take it forward. Next comes the part of speech tagging. So I told you I entered basic applications of NLP here. I'll start looking into how NLP can be used, the process of NLP can be used in other NLP algorithms or models you'd be creating. So these are technical applications. So when you come to part of speech tagging, so this is one of those applications where you could use to find your discourse level. As I told you, the connections between each and every word. Yeah, this is one of those applications. And for example, if you see here, this is a very confused sentence. So she sells seashells on the seashore, right? So in this case, if you take the nouns are classified in one manner. It's classified into one group, and determinants are nothing but those kind of words are determined. That's all. That's taken out, and there are propositions also which is taken out. So part of speech tagging is applied using NLP process to make sure the particular sentence or the particular text is ready for a text classification or a semantic, or a sentiment analysis purposes or email filtering purposes. So you have to take out the particular verbs or nouns out of it and make sure it's grouped in one manner. And only then the next NLP process would understand, okay, if this is a noun, so we can use this noun for the next upcoming sentences or text which is being inputted. So next comes named entity recognition. This is really important because right now we are dealing with real world, right? So we are not dealing with real world text. So named entity recognition, it automatically finds with things like people, place, products, organization, only if you give certain tag to it, as I told you here. So you can give a noun to a place, and you can say if your part of speech tag is a noun, it is a place, or it can be organization. So that will again be classified, or nouns again will be classified into places and organizations in your particular. In products can also be different nouns of products as well. People are nouns, right? People are nouns. So they're also part of nouns. Named entity recognition. It is up to you increase and customize your named entity recognition. And in short form, you can call it as NER, NER. And your classification, say technology, a word called technology instead of places or people or products, because it's something you are giving, it's something you are defining, right? So if you say computers, you can say it's a product, but if you want to classify it much more deeper, you could say inside a product, this is a technology. Or if you say, you could say medicine. Inside a product, you have medicine. Under medicine, you have the COVID drug. So that's how named entity recognition works, because it classifies more and becomes much easier for the NLP process as well. And based on these processes, your voice is created and AI is applied. I've given an example over here, Alexa, and that's how it is made. But it has got a lot of technical, a lot of hard work behind it. So it's not just this few 30 minutes to 40 minutes of topics which I've told you, but you have to deal with it a lot of the complete journey. You have to practice. You have to learn a lot from it. So this is how it deals. And using AI and NLP, you could using AI, you could train your NLP models. So don't confuse us. NLP is part of AI. It is not AI itself. So NLP has got its own models. AI has got its own models. The way you link it is very important. So when you're going to cluster, you're using AI clustering algorithms. When you're going to classify, you're using your supervised algorithms for NLP. So when it comes to text classification, it doesn't mean that NLP is going to take care of text classification. NLP takes care of how we are going to process your sentence. And after that, how each and every pattern of the sentence is found out. And only then machine learning comes to play, or your AI algorithms comes to play. So I'll give you basic steps over here. So if you see, there is something called text pre-processing. The whole thing we went right now, whatever we went through, pre-processing. So in text pre-processing, you're also supposed to remove unwanted words which is not related to your problem statement. And you can also remove, if numbers are not related, you can also remove numbers out of it. But if numbers are really important for your problem statement, you don't need to remove. And that's where you need feature engineering. You need to work on your features as well. It's not just about, okay, a text is that, let me do this basic steps, it's done. You need to work on it. Some cases you need your numbers. It's not the fact that you don't need your numbers in text as well. So in my case, so for example, I'm working on a particular text, say complaints based. Say 1 liter of milk, the packaging for 1 liter of milk is getting spoiled. So should I leave the number there? No, because if I leave the number, then it will make different sense. The packaging of milk, then what happens to the process? So the teams which is related to packaging for all the milk, all kinds of milk, even say the milkshakes, even say the chocolate milks. So over there, every team gets into that stages and they would address that problem. But what happens? Only that 1 liter milk has got the problem, not the 500 ml or not the 250 ml. It's just that 1 liter of milk has got the problem, and people will start looking to 500 and 250, and they'll change their products. That's not going to work out. So in these cases, you might need your numbers, the 1 liter or the 500 ml or something. This is a small example, but it depends on your context and what problems you're working on. And as I told you, modeling. So in this case, modeling is not AI, it's NLP. So modeling is something, so you create text. So the AI doesn't read your text directly. It reads only on numbers. So AI is only for numbers. So algorithms only for numbers. So you need to vectorize your AI. You need to vectorize your NLP models. So that's where a little bit of maths is important. So yeah, you don't take that much time. You don't need to worry about maths a lot. So if you go with the flow, or if you go with your interest, you can learn it. And your vectorization of text is important. So what happens in a particular sentence, there are words. So I'll explain you in the next coming slides, because there's a much more concept into how words are converted into numbers. So next comes training with AI algorithms. So training with AI algorithms, as I told you, it only trains numbers. It doesn't train text directly. So you can use any kind of training based on your problem statement. If it's clustering, you can use see the nearest neighbors, or yeah, whatever algorithms you know. And if it's classification, you've got a lot of algorithms, so starting from logistic regression till random forest, XGBoost. Yeah. Then comes prediction. Yeah. Predicting is the final part of your AI process. So this is the steps related to AI and NLP. It's not only NLP. Next comes the scientific applications. As I told you, one of them was named entity recognition. Next is Ngram. So what is Ngram? Basically, it is nothing but the number of words together. Say you could say, I could say, that's a good student in this set of 40 to 45 students. So in this case, I could say bigram. I could also say unigram. So these are types of Ngram. So what is bigram? Good student is known as bigram, a couple of words together. And that can also be trigram. So maybe 3 words together. And unigram is just a one word, one particular word. So when you come to Ngram identification, if there are 2 words, so those 2 words will be combined for one particular number. I will explain you how is that converted to numbers or the probabilities. Yeah. Next comes topic modeling. So what is basically topic modeling is nothing but you give, say, you take the first newspaper, you take your newspaper, read the first complete paragraph, and when you read it, you say there'll be various discussions among you and your parents, or maybe people at your home. You'll be discussing about a topic. So at the end of the day, you revolve around one particular topic, right? So when you watch debate shows or other shows, you revolve around one particular topic. That particular topic is called topic modeling. So it is based on what context you speak, and you create a topic out of it. So that's called topic modeling. So it's used for summarization of newspapers or any kind of books. Next comes sentiment analysis. And topic modeling you would have seen in Zomato as well. If you go again, you could see it, because where there are reviews, and it would be converted into particular topics. So you could have a look at it whenever you're free. And sentiment analysis, it's very simple to understand. It just divides or classifies your text into various sentiments, positive, negative, or neutral. But that's one more thing. In Python, it just classifies into positive, negative, and neutral. But there is a particular package in R which actually takes it much more in deep. It classifies whether you're funny, you're angry, or you're sad. It gets it more deep. So I don't know if that's a package in Python, but I know that's a package in R. So you can have a look at that as well. And next comes to information retrieval and extraction, which is also one of the scientific applications. When it comes to, say, suppose you're going through your research thesis or your thesis project, you're going to extract a lot of information, right? So in that case, imagine a PhD student, he has to go through a lot of papers, everything within a month. That's going to take a lot of time. In case, what do you have a particular application which says, I'm going to get you some information out of the papers. I'm going to summarize you. So that becomes easier. So that use case, that scientific application of NLP is one of the most useful thing in terms of information extraction and retrieval. That's one of the example for that particular application. And next comes questions and answering, which is basically for the interview purposes. So it's the recruitment and hiring applications, which I've told you, that goes with question answering. And next comes text classification, which is very simple. It's also one of the sentiment analysis classification, but it's got its other ways as well. For example, if you have a lot of complaints and you want to classify your complaints into certain ways only. Suppose if you're working for say an automobile industry and your complaints are plenty, and you want to classify your complaints based on the model of the bike or say a model of the car, you can do a text classification over that. You can just read your sentence and say what contains, or if there's any meaning behind a particular of the car, then it's classified as the particular it's part of the interview. It's natural language understanding. It's chatbots. So chatbots are not only based on what you question them, they also understand each and every context behind what you speak to them. So that's why it brings the concept of intents. So it understands your intent. So if you're going to ask a chatbot in Zomato saying, I don't like this spicy food, then it understands. And maybe you could also give them saying, I don't like Indian spicy food. So it could also give you back saying, okay, don't give this guy Indian spicy food. Get him something other than Indian spicy food. You can get him something in other cuisines as well. That's one of the NLG are completely different. Energy, I've told you, it's generation. NLU is understanding generation, but how you generate your text to a NLP readable format. So that's where your transcribing purposes comes in for call centers and customer care complaints. And you have two things to know. So this is where I've told you that you need to work on your math skills and a little bit of text to numbers conversion. So you've got two concepts. One is word embedding and sentence embedding. Word embedding is nothing but basically converting of words. So see, you have a sentence and you have plenty of words in it, but you need to relate words to you need to relate each and every word into other words in the sentence, or say in the document or in any paragraph. And you need to create a pattern out of it. How you want to create a pattern? Because computer going to understand. So
I think he lost connection again.
Yes, ma'am. It looks like he's got lost his connection.
Netherlands also, they have the same problem.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Karthik, can you please mute yourself?
Srinivas, can you check?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It's working. Yep. Sorry. So yeah. So the embedding techniques I was talking to you about. So that's word embedding and sentence embedding. So word embedding is based on each and every word. It creates a pattern out of it. Suppose if you say the word name, I mean the word your name. So it's going to find out names according to your. I mean, it's going to find out I, my, words like I, my. It's going to create a pattern. If it's I, my, the probability might be higher, so the number might be 0.90 or 0.91. That means the percentage level of how it's getting connected to the word. So that's how it's converted to numbers. So suppose a sentence has got, say, 5 words. So word embedding will convert all the 5 words to 5 numbers, 5 probability numbers, not more than 1. It means, yeah, it can be greater than 1. So it's going to convert in that sense. And if it's sentence, it's going to convert each and every sentence to one particular number. That's how it works. So this is very important for your ML algorithms. So you should have a basic understanding how it's getting converted, because you're not going to convert it. You need to have a basic understanding how you're going to convert it. So next comes the embedding techniques. So these are the basic techniques. Say bag of words is one of the technique, TF-IDF. And as I told you, unidirectional. So if a sentence reads from one direction, it's got its own numbers because it varies from bidirectional. Bidirectional, I've told you, it works on the architecture called transformers and BERT. So you can have an overview of it. I mean, look into it, because I'm not going to explain now. It's going to take a lot of time if I start explaining. So bidirectional, it's going to take a look from both sides of the sentences. So it's a much more appropriate context of each and every word and meaning of each and every word in the sentence. So the probability of a word being much more accurate is going to be higher in terms of bidirectional than unidirectional. So you can have, I mean, you can try various problem statements on this as well. So yeah, our NLP part is done. If you have any questions, just let me know. So I'll just move on to Power BI. Let me just complete stuff and we can get back to some question sessions. And yeah, coming back to Power BI, this is going to ease your life basically. So yeah, it's going to make your life very easy as possible. And Power BI is a tool. It's basically a tool. It's a menu-driven tool where your coding skills won't come handy. It's going to but your technical skills do come handy. You need to know the technical knowledge behind data and how data has to be distributed over platforms. So why do you have to choose Power BI and what is Power BI, and the components we'll be seeing in the further slides. So why do we need basically Power BI? So as I told you, it is not a coding language, right? So it just boosts your productivity. So for example, you're done with your complete algorithms and you need to produce your data out of it. So use Power BI kind of systems or applications. It's going to make your life easier because you can take out the data. Not all people understands AI or ML algorithms. We are a few right now. So it's better you show them a data, better visualize data to them. If this is the thing, this is what happens. So that's where it boosts your productivity. And as I told you, for people in marketing and sales, they don't really understand how it works. So you need to show them much more analytics in based on marketing and sales data. It's going to work over there. And results closer to established goals. That means it's just that. So you will understand, you know what your goal of the project is, and you will know where you're reaching based on your results, right? So the results you're reaching will be very much closer when you start visualizing your data in Power BI. That's actually visible. That's actually what I've experienced as well. So you can also gain insights to consumer behavior if you're going on consumer data. And this is for maybe people who are interested in startups or companies. You can also have a return on investment on it, because when you start using it, you get back your goal achieved, and at the end of the day, your purpose solves when you use BI. And at the final thing, it converts data into useful information as well. And why Power BI? Yes, it does few machine learning tasks, but not all. Do not fool yourself saying, no, I'm going to quit coding. I'm going to go to Power BI, use machine learning over there. it never works. It can work for a set of 2,000 or 3,000 rows, but never do that for rows of 10,000 or 50,000 rows and try to fool yourself, because that's not the way machine learning works in Power BI. And mobility, I mean, machine learning does work, but make sure you do it. Mobility, yes, it is a lot of mobility. It is used in various platforms. So as well as cloud. Yeah. So it can have a various range since it's cloud. So we don't have to worry about can I use it in Windows or Linux or Mac. You can use it anywhere. And advanced analytics, yes, as I told you, it gives you great insights. Just put your data in, it gives you a lot of suggestions. And it's got lower cost, and it gives you a lot of upfront towards your project as well. And APIs are really important. Suppose if that's a person who really wants to use data from this to show it on their web applications or app, they can use APIs. They can convert the APIs into a certain format, and they can use it in their applications. So BI powers you with APIs as well. And customization. So it's not just that they give you suggestions of how data could be visualized, but you can have your own complete customization. And it also depends on what kind of pricing you want to give them. It's free. If it's free, you've got only a certain limit. And it's completely user friendly. You will literally learn it if you concentrate and focus on it. You literally learn it within a couple of days. And basically, what is Power BI? As I told you, Power BI is a data visualization and analytics tool, and it's made by Microsoft based on a cloud service. So it basically aggregates a lot of data, it analyzes them, and gives you a lot of visualizing power as well. And at the end, you can share information through web. Really don't know how it works. So, for example, you're really good at, say, entertainment, and you want to get the data out of all kind of entertainment news or something. You can just put your data in, you can just get it, you can understand how it works. And IT professionals as well. So, like business analysts as well, and also data analysts, because most of the data analysts, they use Python and R, but they start preferring this because it gives you a much more better value as well. What are the components? So there are various features in it. So one is Power Query, which gives you a separate platform to write your own queries like SQL. So that's there. And Power Pivot. Pivot is similar to what you do in your SQL, in your Excel. So it gives you a place to do your pivot features as well. And next, Power View is nothing but your visualization platform. That's another feature where you can do various visualizations. And next is mapping. Mapping is nothing but how could you map your data. So you have one large set of data, you have another large set of data, and you have a particular goal. So you can also, that's also a feature where you could map data, goal, and other sets of data as well. And next would be Power BI Q&A. And as I told you, it's part of the machine learning. So that gives you, say, when you upload one kind of text. So when you upload question and answers into Power BI, it understands this is a question and this is the related answer. It gives you, so when you ask the Power BI, give me the answer for this question, it gives you the answer. So that's one of the applications of ML. And again, I'm telling, don't use Power BI for ML. It's something that I recommend personally. Next, it's data management gateway as well, because when you start uploading data on Power BI through your cloud service, you can start using that as a data management gateway or converting that into various applications based on your project. And next is your data catalog. Yeah, it can store a lot of data if it is on a cloud platform. If it is on your local system, it depends on your space and your RAM as well. What are the benefits? As I told you, it gives you a lot of dashboards and reports for popular applications. I mean, if you're creating a SaaS application, software as a service, it gives you a lot of dashboards and reports. And real-time dashboards, yes. So your live data can be upon it every second. So every second it changes the data. For example, like the COVID, which is really sad to see, but yeah, every time the data changes. And secure live connections, yes. they got a proper security behind it. They've been using a lot of antivirus softwares in their cloud services as well. And also, you can also explore data in various formats. So they give you various insights to your data. They say this can be done, this can be done. So it's not just about exploiting data, it's about exploration as well. And you can integrate with your cloud service. As I told you, if you're using AWS, if you're really strong with AWS and you want to develop one more skill to it, then you could go for Power BI. You can start using it so that you start analyzing data and stuff. And fast deployment, obviously, if your cloud service is much more faster, your deployment is going to be faster with Power BI. And the basic process behind Power BI is very easy. You find your data, you just pick your data from anywhere, Kaggle or from your local system, or create your own data if you're really interested in doing so. And you do the ETL process, which is nothing but you extract the data, you transform the data, so the feature engineering, and you load the data into the Power BI. Then you do the analysis based on that, and you can also have a prediction based on how it's happening. Then further you can research into, or you could explore into the data, say based on a problem statement, say you could do this as well, maybe you cannot do this, and you can gain more insights of it, and you can act as a business analyst as well. And in that case, then you could come back to your results and summary or output based on what your data says. And finally, you can visualize that output to say the clients or the stakeholders in your company, or if it's going to be the project, to your teachers or to your staff members in the college. So if you want to know, see, Power BI doesn't have coding, as I told you, but make sure you use coding a lot so that you get accumulated with how things work. Then further, you will make it easier for your life as well. I mean, to be honest, I'm going on another 5 to 10 years, coding might not be the case, but it's all going to be AutoML. It's all about how your technical skills help you to develop. It's all about the concepts. So if you don't know maths, then it's going to be kind of really tough for you to pick up things. You can pick up things, but it's going to be really tough. So it's better to know the technical skills. Do not leave coding ahead. So yeah, the session is done. So if you got any questions, just let me know. Before that, so I would recommend you personally, since I'm doing my master's, I recommend you personally start looking into a lot of thesis papers. So when it comes to thesis papers, a lot of people think, okay, it's completely different from how a project works. Not at all. If you do a thesis, your project, if you work on some other project, then your project becomes easier because you learn a lot of concepts. Even if you don't know something, if it's Greek and Latin, within a couple of days, it becomes really familiar to you. So it's better you start looking into various papers. So thesis is not just based on how sciences apply to it, it's also based on the problem statements, the societal statements. So it's very interesting if you look into your thesis, and there are a lot of topics. And currently, my thesis is based on how I could improve the NLP process inside manufacturing and food-based companies. So that's something, I mean, if your interest is in food domain or kind of manufacturing domain, then it's good to go with that kind of thesis projects. So, but you should apply your science behind it or technology behind it. So it's, I mean, as a third year student, it's better to start your thesis right now and try looking for projects and connect with your staff members. They'll give you a lot of suggestions as well. And final suggestion, just it's a bad time to be here online, and we are supposed to create positivity around us. So yeah, just follow these 3 rules and create happiness around us as well. Thank you. And any questions, we can start looking into it. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Any queries from students?
Anything other than related NLP is fine.
Any queries from your side?
Later, they'll ask us personally, ma'am. Like they'll ask us to give the reference for the seniors. In the forum, they are hesitating.
Okay.
Oh, that's totally fine. If you have questions apart from that also, ma'am, you could also share my email or contact. I could also address to them directly.
You can just message in the chat box.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, a student has texted me. She's got a query, Amrita. And can you just unmute her, please, ma'am?
Yeah. Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Amrita.
Amrita, right, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. 0061, Amrita.
Done, ma'am.
Yes, thank you for the wonderful webinar. And creating NLP models is one thing, but deploying them is another ball game. So how do we go about that?
So first try to concentrate on creating them. If you're really good at creating them, deploying them is, as you told, is another ball game. Yeah. So when you start creating NLP models, so when you want to deploy them, you could only deploy them based on your ML models, because as I told you, NLP models all alone doesn't work just directly. So when you're using ML models, you need to deploy them using Python packages and other stuff. Maybe I could explain you, I could give you a few examples through email. I'll just share my email. You could also connect me through that. So when you want to go through that, just look into Python packages. They have a lot of deployment packages. So something called pickle, a format pickle is used in Python. So to deploy a packages. So if you use the format pickle, it deploys a package and it takes it to the particular cloud service or the server you're looking into.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Ma'am, can you unmute Injay Venkateshan, ma'am?
Yes. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much. It was such a useful webinar. This time spent, I would clearly say it was more useful than what we might even spend in class, because we learned a lot, which were very useful topics like natural language processing and everything, which was very useful. It was so easy to learn with the help of your PPT, and the way you explained it, it was really good. So from the bottom of my heart, I would like to thank that you conducted this webinar, which was very useful.
You're most welcome. You're most welcome. I should thank you as well for sitting for, I think, more than 1.5 hours in the morning. That's really tough, right? That's really tough.
The knowledge learned, I wouldn't say it was. I would say it was nothing. It was very, very useful for us.
Great.
So thank you so much.
Great. Thank you.
Any more queries?
Since you're studying abroad, you must have done some kind of a research paper and published it in journals. So how do we start doing things like that?
That's something good to know. I think everyone can listen to this. So how do you start? So first define your problem. So define your area. So I would say streamline your concepts. So for example, if you're really good at NLP, so make sure you're going to go only concentrate on NLP, because at the end of the day, machine learning becomes a default thing in this world. So any topic you take, even in terms of computer science, I see a lot of students here doing machine learning with computer science, even though they are specialization is just computer science. So streamline what kind of topic you want to take in AI. If it's going to be only machine learning, well and good. If it's going to be NLP, well and good. And before that, make sure what kind of problem you want to solve. Is it the societal problem I'm talking about? But right now, I wanted to solve something related to the education sector or the food sector. So these two sectors are my main sectors. So based on this, I'm searching for a lot of topics. I'm putting my literature reviews into it. I'm publishing journals and stuff. So based on this, you need to select, okay, maybe in education sector, do you have to jump into NLP, or do you have to jump into deep learning, or do you have to jump into machine learning? What is your strength and what are you comfortable with? So after that, once you have decided on that, start looking into papers, start looking into IEEE papers, start looking into Google Scholars, sit and read them for 1 month or a couple of weeks, and summarize yourself saying, okay, this paper says this, Okay, how am I going to take forward this? What is something different I'm going to do apart from this paper? So it can be difference, can be even your problem statement as well. The difference can be the scientific manner you're working as well. So the scientific manner in the sense you can use 4 algorithms together, you can compare them and you can bring out a result. Or you could say, based on this research, what I've seen, this problem has not been solved. Say the societal problem has not been solved, so I'm solving this. So this is how you're supposed to go through your starting stages. And further, if you start going through it, I mean, your research becomes much more comfortable.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I just have one more doubt regarding which you spoke right
Sure.
now. See, once we I heard to whatever you said, like how we have to research and then go about a topic. Once we start a topic, sometimes we tend to defect to another topic, thinking might not be our forte, or this might be tough. So how do we prevent, like, sometime at one point of time we have to put a full stop to that? How do we stop moving from one particular topic, like, okay, is this for me? How do we decide on whether this topic is for me, or do I have to keep on moving next and next? Sometimes we may get it in the first attempt, sometimes we may not. So how do we go about that portion alone?
To be honest, I was also on your path, Shinjay. I lost track 15 times. So the 16th time, my research proposal was accepted. And to come to that point, make sure you have your rationale behind your topics really perfect. So, see, you have your research proposal, so you have it with you. You might get prevented. I mean, as you say, you might get have a full stop saying, "Oh, so I am proposing my research proposal, and the staff member or the person who's going to accept it says, okay, does not work out." And at the end of the day, you also think this does not work out. Don't have that mindset, because you have a lot of papers. You have to dig into a lot of papers and say this will work out. And that's the reason I've told you, uh, pick your strength, or pick the difference between what the research has done and what you will be doing. So research paper has to be unique out of the world. It's something you're researching. You're not inventing, you're researching. So based on the previous paper, you're researching based on that. You're not inventing something new. So that is something I want everyone to understand. So a lot of people would say, okay, research is something we are inventing. Not at all. It is based on the previous data. We are using that. We are trying to create something new with that. That's it. So you have to look into a lot of papers. That's the only solution I have for you. So it takes time, and someday your time might be good.
Yes, it was very to the point. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Any more clarifications? Ma'am, can we move on?
Yes, ma'am.
So on behalf of all the AI faculties, I thank Srinivas for making our students understand the concept of AI, NLP, making them understand the various levels of NLP, applications, BI and analytics, and explained everything from a research point of view. So on behalf of the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, I request our HOD ma'am to present a certificate of appreciation to Srinivas. Ma'am.
Thank you. I mean, it's kind of weird to do it online if it's something on stage different. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you all the students over here, and yeah, more than students, you more than students, your peers to me. So make sure you start doing well in your third year, and focus on what you.
Golda ma'am, have you shared the feedback form?
Yes, ma'am. I'm just going to share, ma'am. I got disconnected in between. Just a second, ma'am.
Yeah, okay, ma'am.
Plus, can we have a
Students,
picture?
kindly fill up this form and then you can.
Ma'am, can we have a pic with all the participants' video on, with the video on the in the video mode?
Photo is it?
Yeah.
Okay, ma'am.
Can you all switch on your videos, please?
I'm sure they're not going to do it.
Okay.
I'm wearing your ID card. Are you in campus?
No, ma'am. No, I'm not in campus, ma'am.
Oh, so formal. Okay.
Okay.
Only we three of us are here with the video on. So probably I think we can click
Yes,
a
ma'am.
pic now.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Done. Thank
Yeah,
you, Sri.
thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Srinivas. See you later. Bye. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am. Oh, ma'am. The host has to enable. Can't on the video.
Oh, just a minute, Srinivas.
Okay,
They say
okay.
that they host has to enable. Just a minute. Yeah, guys, please try now. Hungry, ma'am? Yeah. But I think Srinivas is not here now, is it?
Oh my. Okay.
He has
So we
left.
didn't notice.
That's okay, ma'am.
Right. Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
We'll bind it up. Thank you.
Yeah, okay, ma'am. Right. Thank you.
Thank you all. I'll end the session now.
Okay, ma'am.